Liberal Viewer presents.
So I'm a strong believer in free speech, even when some people find that speech offensive, and I've defended free speech in more than a dozen videos, including videos defending the free speech of NAMBLA, the speech of the Westboro Baptist Church, and even the speech of Nazi gingerbread men and Holocaust deniers. So I was immediately skeptical last week when I saw on the Colbert Report a campaign to stop people from using the so-called R word, which guest Tim Shriver explained based on his experience running the Special Olympics beginning in this clip.
I represent 3.5 million athletes all over the world, 180 countries where they compete all year round, and they have one goal. Their goal is to play sports and to show the world that people can play together, live together, and show them some respect. The word retard has become the symbol for them, not for me, but for them, of the idea that they don't count.
Now, I can understand people being offended by that word, and it's not a word I use personally, but like I told my 10-year-old daughter when the issue of bad words came up recently, no word is always bad, and any word can be a bad word if you use it to hurt someone, which is why I remained skeptical of this campaign against the R word until I heard Tim Shriver's answer when Stephen Colbert raised the issue of creating a thought police in this clip.
Isn't that thought police? That's thought police, my friend.
No, I don't want to be a cop, I want to be a teacher. You're allowed to be humiliating, degrading, and hurtful. I'm allowed to petition you to at least recognize what you say and be aware of the option you have to stop.
So you're asking...
Now, that's a real free speech approach to a campaign to get rid of an offensive word, and I thought Tim Shriver also did a great job with the zinger he used to bring his point home. You can see here.
I'll look at it this way. Jon Stewart, he's funnier than you, but he doesn't make fun of you all the time, right? So you don't have to make fun of people.
He does a comedy show, and I do a news show.
I know.
Okay.
And now, as funny as that zinger from Tim Shriver was, the comedic peak of the interview really came in Colbert's response to Shriver's request to help save America's kids that you can see in this clip.
Look, I'm asking you to lead a campaign to save America's kids.
Okay, hold on. I have a lot of influence. I have a lot of influence over young kids.
I know you do.
All right? Okay.
What do you think I'm
ready
doing
for my
here?
PSA?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, I'm Stephen Colbert. Kids, don't use the R word. It is totally gay. You're welcome. You're welcome.
I love Colbert's ironic twist of using one sometimes offensive word to combat another one, and I found the juxtaposition of those two words particularly poignant, having recently lobbied my state legislators for an anti-harassment law that delineates a limit to free speech in this area. The law is called Seth's Law for Seth Walsh, a gay student who committed suicide after being harassed at school for his sexual orientation, and while Seth's harassment involved physical bullying, even just speech can be harassment when it's targeted at an individual, and especially when it happens repeatedly and the victim is a captive audience, not able to leave because it's happening at a place like school or work, and that type of harassment should be stopped at school, whether it's using the R word, the G word, or any other word, but I want to know what you think. Can free speech become harassment when that speech is repeated, is targeted at a specific individual, and is targeted at a victim who is a captive audience not able to leave? And beyond the harassment situation when it comes to offensive speech? Do you agree with Tim Shriver that you're allowed to be humiliating, degrading, and hurtful while he's allowed to petition you to at least recognize what you say and be aware of the option you have to stop?
YouTube, you decide.